This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hello. Hi, Jim Toth. How are you?
Good day. Happy Wednesday. I am well. How are you?
I'm
Sun
very well.
shines out. Not a lot of a little bit of wildfire smoke. But
Yeah, we can't get
we're
away
at that
from
point of this summer, Cam, where we're like, not that much wildfire smoke.
it. Well, it's been the year of wildfire smoke.
Yeah,
that's
it's been
for
just a disastrous year. But a nice sunny day on a Wednesday here in August.
Yeah, we'll be connecting with Mike McIntyre in just a few moments here. But Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later on in the program. Jim, what have you been up to? What have you been up to lately?
It has not been the summer of Jim.
It hasn't
I'll
been
tell
the
you
summer of
that.
Jim.
Or the summer of George. Just busy trying to move and stuff, Doing all right, though. How about you? How's your summer going? You showed me a picture of your little guy today, and I got to say, he is cute.
Yeah, no, we got him a
mini kitchen.
We got him a mini kitchen in our kitchen because all he wants to do is hang out where we're hanging out. So we had nothing for him to play with in the kitchen. So we got him a fake kitchen, and he loves it.
Now, have you changed your zoo at all with your son? With all don't you have 8 rabbits and a parakeet? You're like Ace Ventura over there, right? In that apartment?
So we only have the one rabbit left. I had to go out in the woods.
Okay.
And take care of a few of them.
When we had our youngest, we had
just got to brush that over. I keep going good. I like that. I prefer these.
Well, my boy Bruce, I miss him desperately, but he was 110 pounds and needed to run every day. And we got him, I know people are going to say the farm, but we literally found him a farm that had a single dog, and they were looking for another one. And now Bruce is running every day and happy.
Yeah.
But I miss him.
Yeah. Welcome, Mike McIntyre.
I also miss Mike. So it's good to have
Mike back on. Mike McIntyre, Jets beat writer with the Free Press on the program. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm great. I am not 110 pounds, and I do not need to run every day.
Well, Mike, I still miss you. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I miss Bruce a little bit more, but I still miss you.
Mike, if you're down to 110 pounds, I'd be worried about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Just, Jim, don't send me to the farm, please.
No. Well, maybe to see Bruce. He'd love to see you. You're a big dog
guy,
yeah.
Lots of room to run around, you know.
I mean, you can send me down to the Manitoba Moose. I guess that's sending me to the farm, right?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
You would do well.
We're closing in. I want to talk because we already got a quick a text message about this, and it was some Frank Saravelli reporting. I want to get your thoughts on this. I'll just let it out here. I don't listen, and I'll preface it going into it, and I want to ask your opinion on this, Mike. But I'll say this: every time we've ever heard about a Winnipeg Jet and a member of the Winnipeg Jet wanting to leave, it's happened many years beforehand. Right. I mean, it was Nikolai Ehlers, it was Patrick Laine, Pierre-Luc Dubois. It wasn't a surprise when this came up here. I'm not necessarily buying, and it's not necessarily Frank Saravelli reporting. He's just saying, I could see Kyle Connor being with the Detroit Red Wings, whatever that necessarily means. But we got a text message from Ralph. It says, fellas, as predicted, the KFC going home to play for Detroit rumors are swirling before he signs. Thanks, Frank, as in Frank Saravelli, NHL Insider. Signing KFC is the biggest signing we've ever had. I feel a tad bit worried only because KC is a hard guy to read on. Thanks. Thoughts on that from Ralph? Well, I'll ask you your thoughts. I kind of gave mine. What do you think? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Frank is not reporting that Kyle Connor is looking to go leave the Winnipeg Jets and sign with his hometown team. But I think if we're looking at just complete possibilities, the Detroit, if he ever got to the stage of being an unrestricted free agent, of course the Detroit Red Wings would make sense. And you know what? We said the same thing about Connor Hellebuck a few years ago, that if Connor Hellebuck didn't re-up with the Jets, the Red Wings, who desperately have been looking for a franchise goaltender, and of course Connor Hellebuck being a Michigan boy, that would make sense. They were saying the same thing about Jacob Trouba at one point, and Andrew Kopp. Well, Andrew Kopp did end up with the Red Wings. So I don't read much into that, and I think I'm on record, and I'll repeat it again. I firmly believe Kyle Connor is going to be extended with the Winnipeg Jets. I think there's a strong desire on both sides, Kyle Connor's side and the Winnipeg Jets side, to get a deal done. And guys, I'll be very surprised if we get to puck drop in early October against the Dallas Stars to kick off the season, and Kyle Connor has not been extended. And I'll say the same thing about Adam Lowry, just to be clear. I think Lowry and Connor extensions get done. Does that mean they happen tomorrow? Probably not. But there's still a bit of time here, obviously, between now and the start of the next season. Do we see something similar to what we saw with Hellebuck and Scheifele, training camp-esque? That would be my prediction. I don't think there's much to worry about here. And I think it's natural that one might connect a dot and say, well, if he got to this stage, of course the Red would make sense. He'd probably be very interested to play there. But I think his main interest is remaining a Winnipeg Jet.
Who gets paid more, Lowry or Connor? No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, what do you think Connor's getting? Like I look at the other deals, Mike, and I think, 9.5 when he deserves 10.5. But then I start seeing some of the other contracts like Mitch Marner and stuff, and I think, I'm one of the ones for probably 10 years now who go, Kyle Connor's an elite talent, most underrated. Now he's not underrated anymore, all this. I think he's an $11 to $12 million player. I think he's on par with, $11 million if Marner and them are getting 12. What do you think he gets?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd be in the 10.5 to 11 million range. What I'm really interested in, Jim, is what his next contract looks like. I think maybe we all assume, okay, if he signs an extension, it's going to be like a Hellebuck Scheifele extension, where it's going to be like a 7-year extension. I don't know about that. Like, I wonder if you're Kyle Connor, what's he, 27 today? So if you're Kyle Connor and you're looking at the landscape, and the salary cap is expected to keep going up, and you're still very much in your prime, he might say he's just entering his prime, scratching the surface of maybe being a 50-goal scorer and maybe doing that a couple times. Like, do you look, if you're Kyle Connor and his agent, does he consider like a 4-year deal where he could still then cash in again at the age of like 32? And, or is he looking at this being his last big deal? And I don't know the answer to that. I just wonder, we've seen some players go the shorter term, and it's not because they're not fully committing to the team they're with. It's because they're kind of hedging their bets a bit and saying, well, you know what, I might actually make more money. And of course, there's elements of risk. You risk injury, you risk some kind of regression. But I don't know. I am curious to see what that looks like. And obviously, if we're talking, say, 4 years versus 7, the AAV could change a little bit. But yeah, I agree, Jim. I mean, I think everyone would agree we're looking at double digits here. And without question, Kyle Connor will be the highest paid member of the Jets should he re-sign with them. Exactly where that number falls is interesting. But yeah, I could see something in the 10.5 to 11 million range.
I'm glad you brought up term. Because what stood out to me this summer is even Nick Ehlers, but most players, other than Marner and stuff, they don't want even the 7 years.
Right.
Like the Blake kid in Carolina is the only one who went for the 8. And I get why he did it, because when he's a free agent, he'll still be under 30. Kyle Connor is 28 years old. I'm with you on this. For all these rumors and stuff like this, I think he knows this team can win a cup or is primed to in the next 3 to 4 years. If he has even a 1% of himself that goes, I always kind of thought about wearing the Red Wing, he could very easily sign a 4 or 5 year deal for 10.5, be 33 years old, and say, look, I got my ring or I did whatever, but I'm going to sign a 3-year deal that'll carry me till 36 in Detroit and still get 7 or 8 million per. Like I think he can do both here. I think he's one of those rare ones that even if it's 1% of him that thinks about Detroit or being back in Michigan, it's not now. But what he is thinking about now is I could do a 4 or 5 year deal and still have 2 to 3 years left to go somewhere else if I wanted to.
And a 4 to 5 year deal would kind of sync up with where a lot of the core guys are in terms of their contract. And yes, it would mean that there's going to be a day of reckoning at some point with this organization in terms of, evaluating where it's at and what it's going to do next. But yeah, I think you could kick it down the road a little bit, but not so far down the road that you've just sealed your whole hockey career, right, basically in one contract, that you could parse it out like that and see what you can do here in the next few years with Winnipeg and this team that's built to win now. And then you revisit it and see where, what you and the team have accomplished, where the team is at, what direction it's heading, and leave that door slightly ajar. So I agree. But it's not surprising to me. Look, it's been a pretty quiet summer in the NHL. Have not been a whole lot of blockbusters. It's inevitable. People are, going to speculate a little bit. And so I'm not surprised that some Kyle Connor discourse has started, and probably every day that ticks off here, people are going to be a little worried because we just saw what happened with Nikolai Ehlers. I just, for one, do not view this as a Nikolai Ehlers type situation. I do think Connor wants to stay here, and I think Connor will stay here.
I believe that as well. Mike McIntyre, Jets beat writer with the Free Press. Mike, thanks so much for your time. Take care.
You bet, guys. Have a great week, rest of the week. Thanks.
Yeah, you too, Mike. Thanks a lot. Always great.
Always great. 204-780-6868. 204-780-6868. Let's come back. On the other side, I got a crazy idea, Jim Toth. And every once in a while, I get a crazy idea. But I think this is a good one of those. I see sometimes I'll come to you and I'll be like,
I think they should bring back the Thrashers jersey. That was crazy.
I think they should have 2 red lines. I think they need to be able to have face-offs all over the ice.
I think there should be a 7th player that's just a rover for both teams.
There should be a net dangled underneath the scoreboard in each arena that's worth 2 goals, not 1.
I think that Kyle Ballharry should play the price by Twisted Sister every time there's a penalty on a Jets player.
Well, I think this is a good one.
I've been pounding that idea for years. Just think of it. Oh, it's the price I gotta pay, and all the games we gotta play.
It's a great
As
song.
You're going to the penalty box. It's the price you pay. It's a natural fit. Dallas would do it.
I'll tell you what that idea is when we come back.
Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
So I'll tell you what my idea is in just a second here, but I want to get to some text messages in regards to Kyle Connor, Frank Seravalli, only saying in his defense, I could see Kyle Connor going to the Detroit Red Wings. This isn't. I'm a firm believer that Kyle Connor is not going anywhere.
I take that as if somebody said, if he's not going to be in Winnipeg, where could you see him going?
Yeah,
that's how I take
That's what
that.
it is. Randy says the one thing Casey said at year end was it wasn't going to be his decision. Obviously, his wife and family may be huge influences that may be good or bad for the Jets. So
I mean, for me, with a guy like Kyle Connor, I know it's different for every player, but for a guy like Kyle Connor, begins and ends with, I got a real chance to win a cup in the next 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. If I go to Detroit, we hope to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and Randy mentions that, right? And he says, well, maybe that has more to do with term. Maybe it's like, I'll sign for 3 or 4 years with Winnipeg, and then after that, we'll see. He's got a new baby daughter and all that stuff, but. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, open 24/7. Yeah, he's one of the fishing crew here. 204-780.
He loves wash methods.
6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. The number 1 caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza on Friday. Jim, here's my crazy idea. Should the NHL consider tracking screens or net front when a goal is scored? Don't answer. We'll talk about this when we come back.
New job in the stats room.
Welcome back to the show. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line and win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. While you're at it, download the Jets at Noon podcast free now on Apple, Spotify, face-to-face on YouTube. Wherever you find your favorite podcasts, with plenty of memorable Jets talk episodes and special content exclusively found there, so you can take Jets at Noon wherever you go and whenever you want. Today, we talk about some of the long odds for awards, individual awards in the NHL, in which Winnipeg Jets are mentioned on the short list of some of those. So make sure you tune in to that. Jim, Tyson, and myself get into that. There's lots of other great stuff. So just go to download the podcast. Just get on to it. So I just floated this idea out there, Jim, and I want your thoughts on it. Should the NHL consider tracking screens or net front when a goal is scored? Because if we're being honest, it is more impactful than a second assist in many cases. We're seeing more and more goals being scored on tip-ins via screens. What do you think? Do you think that this is something the NHL needs to start tracking?
I think so. I wouldn't mind that, right? Like if you have a net front presence and you're good at it. I mean, I don't know if you need to track it though. Like I think when you review a goal, you can see.
But here's the thing too, because
like you're talking about like if somebody puts on a screen on a goalie and the goal goes in, giving like just a stat note to the person who screened him.
Correct. Much like face-off wins.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to do that,
why not?
Because I think on goals I can tell if he was screened or not.
Okay, but there's nothing tracking it.
No.
So like, okay, Gabe Vilardi,
right,
big in net front, right?
Okay,
there's lots of guys. Alex Iafallo, net front. Yes. I just think it's
Adam Lowry.
And those guys have keyed in on so many important goals and so many goals with the NHL, but they were more important in most cases than the secondary assist in that puck going in the net. So I'm not saying you track offensive points for them.
I see what you're saying. Like they don't get a point or anything, but they get like if Lowry's screening the goalie and the puck goes in on a screen, that he had 2 successful screens this game.
Correct. That's right. It shouldn't be like an offensive stat. Like it shouldn't be tracked like at
the end of the year, Lowry
goals
had
and assists.
27 screens that resulted.
No, but I think it's an incredibly important metric that every year becomes more and more important. I think that it better understands a player's true value to the team, right? When you say like, wow, he factored in that many goals based on screens, I think that would be something that would be constantly brought up. And I think it would better allow for the player to be evaluated. And it also give them a bonus in contract negotiations that, hey, I didn't score, but hey, I was in front of the net. I didn't tip the puck in, but I got in the way of that shot, right? The challenge of this obviously is the subjectivity of it.
Yeah,
you know what counts as a screen or what is considered
like
net
would
front.
there ever be a goalie after the game who goes, "Well, I saw the puck, you didn't screen it, I just couldn't get to it"? They're not going to say that.
No. And
they're not going to go, "Yeah, he screened me the whole."
Well,
maybe they will.
You're not going to listen to the goalie. It's going to be up to the determination of the statistician.
That's what I mean. How do you determine it, right? Like we can see it.
Yeah.
But do you actually? I just think I get what you're saying because that's the point of stats. I think if it can help a player in define his value, then I think there's any stat like that is worthy of it.
Yeah.
But I think we see that, and most people go. I don't know if they need to go. Well, 13 times this year he screened a goalie that helped,
on a puck that went in the net,
create a goal on a puck that went in front of the net. I just think that most GMs and people and agents know that they do that. They don't need like a defining number to it. But to your point of, like, to me, I'm thinking of the people that screen the goalie. Like even Kyle Connor will try to screen, and he'll try to tip it and get out of the way, whereas another person will just try to take their eyes away from it and stuff. I mean, I guess the St. Louis Blues would get bonuses right, left, and center for that playoff series against the Jets.
Well, yeah, or Colorado the year before.
And maybe it's a more deterrent, not just for the person making the screen, but it's more of a deterrent for the defense core that isn't moving the guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it should.
I do think it's a valuable commodity. Like I think positioning and beating a defenseman and. Like people I say all the time about Josh Morrissey's size. Well, Josh Morrissey is as good as he is because of his positioning. And that's what is valuable. He reminds me of Niedermeyer back in the day of Scott when I don't think he, lifted weights or anything a day in his career, but he was positionally sound all the time. So even the biggest bodies would want to get to a place and he would already be there.
Bruce says, text the show 204-780-6868. By the way, we're coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. want to get Bruce's text message on here. It says, tracking screens is an excellent idea. It takes skill to screen, but not block the shot. It takes guts to go in the front. Well, I do agree. I think it is an excellent idea. That's why I brought it up, Bruce.
Blocking a shot is a skill.
But blocking a shot is most assuredly a very important skill.
It is.
Yeah.
And I argue this with people all the time who said anybody can block a shot. No, it can't. And the way I had it explained to me years ago by some hockey people was in football, there's tackling, right? Everybody should be able to tackle, but there are guys who are way better at it than others. And it's a skill. There are guys, there are linebackers, there are DBs that you do not get by. And there are guys that can shed tackles and go and stuff, and that it's a skill. Everyone in football tackles, everyone. Mm-hmm. But there are those who are way better at it. And it's the same with block shots. The timing of it, the willingness to do it, the understanding of where the play is going, the flow of it, it's a skill. There are players in the league that go down and block a shot and blow by the defenseman right, left, and center. And there are other guys there are defensemen that'll tell you, I cannot get a puck through that guy.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a skill.
Ken texts the show and says, unless it's a rush goal, there will almost always be someone around the net front. If screening is a factor, you'd have to look at the line of shot to assess, so it may be challenging to accurately track. Yeah, it goes back to remember when the CFL was tracking pass on pass rushes, what was the exact stat? But they don't track it anymore because it was too hard to determine what it was and what it wasn't. Like Willie Jefferson was a master at this stat. It was about, oh God, Derek Taylor, where are you?
Well, the one they're doing now is the pass deflections, the pass knockdowns.
Yeah.
And I don't think they track that. Or the discussion is they haven't been for a while, or they just started to, or something.
Quarterback pressures they used to track. That's what it was, yeah.
Which pressures, and that's a prime example of what we're talking about. That's tough to determine, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a quarterback who obviously feels pressure, gets rid of the ball, but was that pressure whether it was impactful or not? Like if the guy was going to get there or not, that's just a quarterback's decision. And how are we watching the quarterback?
Yeah.
Like the guy might not have never gotten to him, but if the quarterback in that play feels like he was going to, that's a pressure.
So that's why I wanted to bring up sort of the subjectivity of it, of what it would have to be so clearly defined, right?
Well, that's what
it would probably many times, like, it would be difficult to sort of determine if it was a screen. There would have to be certain parameters of it, right? And it'd be sometimes it's like, well, that was a screen, but maybe it was a little bit too far out. It would have to be certain amount of distance from the crease or whatever, but. That's why I brought up the subjectivity of it. Well, it's like, yeah, I think it is something that's really important, and I would like to see it tracked, but it's like, how would you even begin to go after
that's
something
what I think it's hard to define. I think it's almost like, to me, the shot clock.
Yeah.
Like that is real easy to define, and we have trouble with it. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden there was 48 shots on net when there was 20.
Yeah. Billy from St. James says, you are describing a dirty area stat as opposed to playing the perimeter. And Randy says, it might be easier to track deflections, similar impact towards scoring is screened and a skill in itself. Well, deflections is either a goal or an assist, right? If you deflect the puck in and it goes in the net, then that's a goal. It's already being tracked. But if it deflects off one player and then into the net, well, then if it last touched you, then you're going to get an assist on it. So those two are already being tracked.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's, I mean, I don't mind it. Look, the more data you get, the better. I just don't know if it's something that's going to be impactful to a player that goes, oh, I had 13 screens last year. I'm averaging 12 and a half screens. Well, you wouldn't have a half.
Do you know what I'm going to do to myself this year, Jim? I'm going to throw myself on the sword, and I'm going to track.
You're going to go back to I'm going
to go back to the onsen. I'm going to relax first.
Yes.
I'm going to scrub. I'm going to get myself clean.
Cleanliness, yeah.
I'm going to hang out at one of those they have laying pools in them where you just lay back and there's sort of like a headrest and you just relax, sitting there in the communal bath in an onsen in downtown Tokyo. Actually, Tokyo's all pretty much a big downtown. Say Shinjuku is the neighborhood. That's a better define, just because I know that you're worried about these sort of things, Jim.
Wax on, wax off, and become clean, and then relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for you.
But I'm gonna this year I'm gonna track what I would define as a screen. I'm gonna do that this year. This
You know what?
upcoming,
Yeah,
I'm going to look back at all the. I'm only going to do the Jets. I'm not going to worry about the other teams. But when I watch the Jets games, I'm going to be like, okay, I would define that as a screen through my own lens of what I think is a screen or what isn't, and I'll keep track of it, and I'll keep everybody abreast of the information.
I like what the texter said about the dirty part of the game, because I think that's a dirty area that, you got to get to, and that's certain players' jobs. I'm all for the guys who like block the shots, the guys who go to the net, the guys who stand in front and take the beating, and like the intricacies of the game that make the others excel. I've always been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of those people that, do the little dirty, gritty things that allow the other star players to do what they do. I've always been a fan of that. To me, it's like the O-line work in football, right? Like, I have an affectionate for the O-line. They're not the ones catching the touchdowns or running the touchdowns, but they're the ones who, so I dig that kind of stat. So I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know if we need it or if it's beneficial to a player, because I think most people understand. Like, if we look at the Jets right now, who screens well?
Well, I could tell you right, yeah. Gabriel Velarde, Adam Lowry, Alex Iafallo, Nino Niederreiter. Yeah.
Who tips well? Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele.
No, same guys.
Yeah.
Cole Perfetti's good. He's pretty good at tipping the puck. Cole Perfetti.
Cole is, yeah.
Yeah. This texter says, while more data, the better, it's already overkill. It's a game. This texter says, if you're going to determine the screen, it would have to be done from a camera on the goalie's helmet to see where the goalie's
I don't know about that.
The goalie's eyes.
I don't think you're putting a camera on a goalie helmet.
This is an important question, and I really would thank this texter for adding this. I hear they refer to wash method as the onsen for your vehicle. That is true.
That just blew my mind. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
One thing I needed to clarify, because I've been asked about this several times over the past few days. You wash yourself at the onsen, right?
Correct.
Like, there's other people washing.
No. Okay, let me
but
get
there isn't like a...
So, Jim, when you walk in, there's a little stool.
Right.
And you go in front of the stool, and there's a mirror, and there's like shampoos and stuff. And so you sit at the stool, and you have like a little handheld like shower head, and you wash your entire body, and then you
enter at the stool,
and then you enter the onsen.
So you don't clean yourself in the onsen.
No, that's for relaxing.
So that's just a hot tub.
That's
just a hot springs.
It's a naked hot tub.
You made it sound like, "Hi, I'm Cam from Canada. Can you get my back?" And somebody said, "Yes, I'm so and so."
Listen,
from
what happens in the onsen?
South Tokyo.
What happens in the onsen stays in the onsen.
I would hope so.
And
I'm not judging the onsen. I am all for whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, that's individually, that's up to you.
Jim, my eyes are up here.
I got to take my Buick to the Winnipeg onsen.
Somebody has to.
With all this rain.
Let's take a break. Let's get some more. We'll get some more text messages.
In a way, he's right, because they'll spray it down first.
It is. Wash method
sprays it down first.
Yes, it's onsen.
And then
Winnipeg.
you go through the sponges.
Yes, it is. Let's take a break. Let's come back.
Is it romantic at the onsen in Japan?
No romance goes on there.
Oh, well then, wash method is a step above.
It is a step above. McDavidGoes.com. Have you heard about this?
Just this morning when you told me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is when we come back, and we'll squeeze in some more text messages about the screens. You got some good thoughts here, and we'll get to those as we go on.
And Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hey, congratulations to Bruce for that winning text message. Tracking screens is an excellent idea. It takes skill to screen. Thank you very much, Bruce.
There go, Bruce.
So congratulations.
Frank Saravelli had another bomb yesterday.
What was it?
Matthew Tkachuk. Quote, "I'd say we're probably not going to see Matthew Tkachuk for 3 to 5 months." He's debating surgery right now.
Well, he shouldn't. If he's going to do it, he should do it.
He should have done it a while ago.
Probably should have done. In
my mind.
Yeah, you're right.
But who am I to tell him what to do?
Yeah.
By the way, during the break, I Googled what you call a person who works at an onsen.
Yes.
In Japan.
An onsenite.
A person who works in I thought something like an onsener.
Yeah.
An onsenite.
An onseno.
An onsenist.
Yes.
What do you do for a living? I'm an onsenist.
Yes.
However, a person who works in an onsen in Japan is generally called an onsen worker. where there isn't a single specific widely used term, onsen worker accurately describes the general role.
They should call it an onsonite.
If I'm in the education game at any university or college, I'm creating a course for onsonist.
Hey, by the way, we have some great text messages here in regards to the screen rule. And we'll get to some more text messages in just a second here. But tomorrow we're going to do what rules you'd like to change in the NHL.
Yeah, this has been fun with the screens.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of reaction to that. And this is always a hot season or off-season hot take. So if you could change a rule or if you could bring a rule into the National Hockey League, what would it be?
And I'll bring 3 and you bring 3 and then we'll let...
I got to bring 3.
Yeah, you got to put some work in, Jim. Sorry to
let
tell
the
you.
Listeners do it.
Mr. Chance, get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza. We'll close with some text messages from the listeners. But McDavidGoes.com. So it is a tracker where someone has set up a website that is dedicated to when Connor McDavid becomes a free agent. And it's 321 days, 11 hours, and so minutes and seconds. The Minnesota Wild have the most votes so far. And there's only like 500 votes or so, but Minnesota Wild are number one with 28%. So obviously it was bombed by Minnesota Wild fans. The Oilers are second.
Kaprizov and Connor McDavid.
Ooh, that's a nice.
It would almost be like Draisaitl and McDavid.
Almost. The Oilers are second with 15% of the vote. The Leafs are third with 10, and Winnipeg way down the list at 1. And I put my vote in for Winnipeg, even though there's no chance of it.
You voted for Winnipeg.
What the hell?
Second line center.
Who's going to stop me?
Connor McDavid. That would be a good 1-2 punch. Shifley, then McDavid.
Lowry. Squeezing some text messages here. This text, Tom says, it's all about going to the net, get to the net and pick up the garbage. My son always went for the garbage. He was big body and cleaned things
I appreciate your son. By the way, if you get a penalty, this is one of my rules tomorrow. And it goes right to production and Kyle Ballharry at Canada Life Center for the Winnipeg Jets. Jets take a penalty and you play this song.